Hello YouTube, it's Kiddos here. Yeah, no, I've been away for a few weeks. Apologies, but real life sometimes cuts into my tube time, you know. As many of you know, I'm a university student. I've got exams coming up in a minute, so I've had to devote quite a bit of time to that. But I've been keeping up with my SP antics alongside as well. I've just not really had time to make any good videos about it. Now, I would like to talk to you all about the protest that happened in Manchester this past weekend, and how we turned epic fail into epic win once again. Once again, Anonymous of Manchester gaining big wins over the Church of Scientology in our local area. Basically, we arrived as scheduled and as planned at 11 AM on the 10th of May, marching along to the 18 theme from our meet location down to the church, and yeah, it was all good. Spirits were high, and we were looking forward to getting out there and interpolating some theatre. But unfortunately, as soon as we arrived, we noticed pretty quickly that there was a major police presence outside the org. We're talking 4 police horses, a police van, a CSO on a bike, and 2 officers on the ground. This before the protest has even started. It was disturbing, to say the very least. So it was quite obvious from the offset that they didn't want us outside the shops opposite the org, and that's fine. You know, we have had complaints in the past and from the shop owners down there, and we've tried to limit the amount of grief, well, not grief, but you know, the amount of lost business that they incur while we're there. So that's fair enough. That's fine. So we crossed over and lined up either side of the org, making sure we didn't block the pavement, making sure we didn't block the entrance to the org. And within 5 or 10 minutes of us arriving, we were told by the police horses that we would have to move. We were being moved because we were threatening the people inside of the org. Basically, they didn't move us far. They moved us down the road to the nearest junction and said, you can congregate here and protest here. This was bullshit. Okay, their claim was that no one had informed them about the protest, and therefore we were lucky that we were even just being moved. But this is entirely incongruous with the evidence at hand. If we hadn't informed them about the protest and they didn't know it was going ahead, why the fuck was there such a heavy police presence there in the first place? DMP, you lied to us. You lied to us straight up. You lied to us and you got caught lying. Okay, and then, okay, that's fair enough. We've been moved, whatever. We set up, we get the radio station going. Thanks very much to Tech and Gylo for bringing awesome radios and making the raid playlist, and just basically getting everything sorted, and that worked out really well. It was really good. Then we start, you know, shouting and dancing about and holding up our signs when the police come over again and speak to my good friend Doyle6315, who many of you will know on YouTube. He's been a great supporter, and he's a great anon, very well informed. Doyle6315, and tell him that he can't. His sign is breaking the law because it has a picture of Lisa McPherson on it, and that might intimidate or upset people inside the org. Now, this is a ridiculous claim, an absolutely ridiculous claim. If anything, really, they should be upset by seeing it, because they are responsible for it. They are absolutely responsible for the death of Lisa McPherson, and it's only fair that the public should know about this. So okay, Doyle complies. He covers up the photo of Lisa McPherson with stickers, carries on holding up the sign. Then the police come over again, tell him you can't have the sign full stop because he's got portrait shots of everyone else. There you go, death's linked to Scientology. Told him can't have it full stop because it's upsetting people inside. He protests, at which point he gets dragged away by the wrist to the police car, and very nearly gets arrested for exercising his right to free speech. At which point, basically, it started kicking off a little bit. A group of punk protesters, like guys that are very experienced activists, they've had a lot of experience with dealing with the police, and decided to come down and support us on the day. Got hold of Doyle's sign, started waving it about. The punk guy was dragged over, very nearly got himself arrested, got his details taken, but the point had been made. shortly after that, we were allowed to spread out and stand around outside the org as was planned, and as we informed the police we were going to do in the first place. Where to go from here? Okay, so basically we're back on track again. Everything's as it should be, and everything's cool. At which point, a guy in a red check shirt comes out of the org and starts talking to people, and turns out, after speaking to him for a little bit, we find out he's an OT8. He's an OT8, he's been Scientologist for 34 years, I think he said he was. 34 years. And for the entire duration of the protest, he just stood outside and spoke to people and engaged in debate. And, you know, he's a really nice, really friendly guy. And I had a lot of good conversations with him about Scientology doctrine, various policies, that kind of thing. And, you know, he agrees that certain aspects of Scientology require reform, but that Scientology can and has helped people. And yeah, it's a fair enough point to make, but I made the point to him saying, if you know that certain aspects of the church require reform, why have you said nothing, why haven't you done anything about it? He didn't really have an answer for me. We also had another lady who, it was alleged she was Tracy Fish initially, but it wasn't Tracy Fish, who came out and talked to us, and she was a lot more aggressive, although she did stay out for a long time and talk to people, but she was very, very defensive, wasn't really answering questions, and was only really there to fustigate people, and that was disappointing. That was very disappointing, considering the other guy was so open, and we talked to him about the asbestos and the free winds, and he said he knew all about it, that kind of thing. The line we would get from this other woman was, there's no asbestos in the free winds, you're all suppressives, you're all here for the wrong reasons, why don't you go and protest the cyclone? Why don't you go and protest the cyclone in Burma? Why don't we go and protest the cyclone in Burma? So very many things wrong with that statement, I don't even want to pick it apart, it's just self-evident, isn't it, really? But the big news story of the day came from Tony and Sue Thurston, who many of you will know as the parents of Rebecca Thurston, a girl who's been trying to get out of Scientology for about the past 18 months or so, and that Scientology had been refusing to allow her to leave. They basically blocked her at every turn. She's been going through the correct procedure and they still haven't released her. We managed to secure an interview with Tony and Sue and the current number 2 at Manchester Org, Anthony Brinkman. I don't want to talk too much about this at the moment because the videos themselves, the interview will be up either tonight or tomorrow and available for everyone to watch. But needless to say, guys, it's going to be very interesting. Basically, we might have got Brinkman into deep shit, deep shit, without even intending to. There's a very high chance that he's going to be RPF'd for what he said and what he's talked to us about. So I don't know if he's part of the YouTube team or the internet team or whatever, but if he is watching, Anthony, I want to thank you for coming out, speaking to Tony and Sue, even if the outcome wasn't really what both parties were looking for. Major thanks and major props for turning up, coming out, and actually speaking to us about a very, very important issue, and an issue that affects the lives of not just Rebecca and Tony and Sue, but the whole family, their whole family, and they've been going through this for so long. There was just, before Saturday, there was no even hint of a resolution for them. So I want to thank you very much, and if you have got in trouble for it, you know the routes, you know the channels, let us know, and we'll do what we can to protect you. Thanks very much, guys. I don't really have much else to say right now, but as always, I invite your questions and comments, and I am on Skype every now and then if you can catch me. I'm Xenobuster, and yeah, I'll chat to you again soon, hopefully. Take care now. Bye bye.